Everybody needs a little time away, I heard her say, from each other. If you leave me now, you'll take away the biggest part of me. Ooh, no, baby, please don't go. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Here's Sal.
All right. Folks, Neil Donnell, lead vocals for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band Chicago, joining us today here on the Sports Circus. You never know what's going to happen. That's the best part about it. How many times have you been in a stadium? Have you heard some great music, and then you're like, hey, this guy's on with us over here. It's unbelievable. Welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast, Hotel Television, Magic 97.9 FM right here in Las Vegas, and everybody else on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and those streaming at AAMPtv and thesportscircus.com. What a real treat to have Neil with us. Neil, thanks for coming back with us.
Oh, gosh, it's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Lots of fun. I think we have a question from our engineer.
Neil, we've got a couple questions here in chat, and one of them is, you do so many types of styles of music. What's actually your favorite that you enjoy singing?
You know, gosh, I get asked that question a lot, and I've got to be honest and say I really don't have a favorite. You know, I mean, of course, singing with Chicago every night on stage is just a thrill that just blows my mind every night, and because there's so many great songs, and these guys are all my brothers, and I love them all dearly. So that right now has been my favorite thing for a few years. But gosh, anytime I can get to sing a great song or write something that I like to write is what I love to do. So I'm very blessed and grateful.
Well, we got another question that came in. Is what is your favorite? Or I'm sorry, it says what accent are you best at?
Well, I think that's debatable. You'd have to ask a lot of different people because my father was French Canadian, and my mother spoke French too, and I speak pretty good French. I guess the French accent is the one that they say is pretty good for me. I can do that pretty good.
I love the face that you make when you do it, as if you gotta do that.
Yeah, that's a part of the thing. When you do impersonations of voices, the facial muscles and the way you contort your face actually, is part of how you make the sound. And that was a sort of a hybrid of a few people, but maybe a little bit of our former prime minister here, Jean Chrétien, who used to talk like that, very French Canadian, and had that accent. But yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of different accents, and I've worked on. I used to do dubbing in films quite a bit, where I would literally be a dozen different actors in the movie who had a few lines here and there, and I would have to change accents and voices for every one of them.
Okay. I like that, because when you think of those people that are really good at impressions, whether it's singing, whether it's just standing up on stage and doing it, my favorite impressionist was Rich Little. And, Rich is still doing it in Las Vegas. He did the best impressions I've ever seen in the world. But I can't imagine doing a song version of it and actually being able to really play guitar at the same time. Now, folks, it's a lot harder to play a guitar and sing than it is just to play guitar. I mean, I can't do either, and I just can't imagine trying to coordinate my fingers and then trying to coordinate a voice and then doing an impression of somebody else and maybe in a foreign voice on top of that. That's got to be really difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it combines a whole bunch of different skill sets, but it's strange. It seems like almost, it's a Canadian thing because, Rich Little is Canadian. He's originally from Ottawa, which is, 4 hours away from where I am. And another gentleman, he's French Canadian. His name is André Philippe Gagnon. And he came to notoriety on the Tonight Show some years ago because he did We Are the World when that came out and did all the voices from that. And he's still out there performing. I think he's in Vegas every now and again, you know, and he's a really talented guy, and interesting and fun to watch.
You know, in the last segment, Neil, I had mentioned something about doing maybe a multi-collaboration or whatnot. So here in Las Vegas, what had happened just recently, you know, there's been some things that have gone on, of course, in the world health-wise and whatnot. Well, what they did here in Las Vegas, and there's a fine gentleman by the name of Alan Glist, Glist Entertainment. Alan's it's the guy that runs the Bronx Wanderers, the Menopause Show, the Thomas John Show at Caesar's Palace, etc. Alan's is a good friend and just a great human. And so, you know, to try to raise money for the stagehands and the singers and the dancers and so forth, people that weren't really working and making a lot of money during a time when everything was down, they put together a project with 20 singers. Imagine this, everybody doing this virtually, 20 singers singing a new song, kind of like We Are the World, right? And then imagine 20 people singing it a cappella, and then, I'm sorry, strike that, 50 people singing it a cappella, and then 20 separate musicians in their locations, all playing their part of it, whether you're playing drums, whether you're playing a keyboard or whatnot, right? And so imagine mixing down all the voices, mixing down all the musical piece, putting it all together, and coming out with this magical piece of music that everybody did this from afar. I've never seen anything like that before. And imagine the work it takes to put something like that together. I think they did it in record time of 3 weeks, thereabouts. It was crazy. A whole new song was written. So the reason I had asked you about writing a song and getting it down and laying the vocals on the track, etc., imagine how long it would take for the average group of 70 people to do such a thing. Isn't that crazy?
It is, and there's a lot of it going on now, and it's because the technology, you know, has come so far. You know, it's so good now, and there are so many people who are very adept at it. You know, just great engineers and great technicians. You know, as you know, and so they can pull these things together. And a friend of mine made a really, really great point to me not so long ago. You know, he said, regardless of the situation, you know, the circumstances, creative people are going to continue to create. It's just, they have to. And so there's a lot going on, and people are trying to keep people happy and positive. And I mean, it's beautiful. I've seen so many of them, and a lot of them are just, you know, still,
just the idea that people have the opportunity to do this at their very own, in their very own homes, whatever. And I think it gives new perspective to people that thought that they could never do something special from home. Well, all they had to do is dig a little bit deeper. Think about, as you're writing songs, how many songs have you written?
Oh, no, I haven't written many. I've maybe written 50 or 60 songs in my life. I'm not, like I said, I've never been terribly, terribly prolific. You know, I might write 3 or 4 or 5 things a year. That's about it. I need to say something significant or important. I can't sort of just write, you know, for the exercise of writing. I have to, it has to be meaningful for me in order to finish and write the song.
Got it. So you have to have a real sense of purpose. By the way, folks, we're here with Neil Donnell, lead vocals for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band Chicago. Big welcome back to everybody watching us on Hotel Television from coast to coast, and listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast, and watching on AAMPtv. So, Neil, you've written 50 or 60. Well, you know, I haven't really written that many songs. That's crazy. It's a huge amount. The average person can't even understand what it's like to write one song. But, oh, you've done casually 50 or 60. That's crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, I've been doing this for a very long time. So, you know, and as I said, I need to say something significant in order for me to be motivated to finish the song. So the songs that I have written, you know, all are say something about my life or something about my philosophy of life. So, but you know, there's, you know, guys in the band like Robert Lamb and Jimmy Pankow and Lee Loughnane. You know, these guys are prolific writers, especially Robert. Robert is writing all the time, and you know, just he's written so many great songs, and has his own style, which is very singularly, him. Yeah.
Okay, so listen, we've got about a minute and a half or so left in the segment. You want to take us out to break with maybe something that you've written, maybe one of your own?
Gosh, I just
can you do it?
Let me just think what I could pull out. Sure.
All right, you got about a minute. Oh, here we go. Everybody at home is making an adjustment on the guitar. Here we go. It's Neil Donnell. Looks like we've got about 60 seconds.
I took it harder than I should. When it come to leaving, I never was much good. Oh, but I can hold on till there's nothing left to hold on to. What happened to me will not happen to you. No, no.